3 easy steps for you to feel rich, to be rich. There's the easy, simple way, and I'm going to explain it to you in this video. I was sitting on my front porch this morning after my daughters got on their morning school bus, watching all my neighbors scurry off to work, some of whom I know aren't happy in their jobs and are suffering. And I thought, I wonder how many people really understand how easy it really is to be rich and to feel rich, and how simple it can be. Now, look, there's other ways, no doubt about it, but I have 3 easy steps that I think will work for you if you're looking for the simple, easy way. And when I say easy, I don't mean that it's not going to take some discipline, Buttercup, but it works, and we're going to talk about it right now. Are you carrying a lot of debt, credit card debt, student loan debt, car debt, mortgage debt, etc., etc.? The first thing you need to do if you want to be rich is stop living like a slave, because debt is the currency of slaves. Sorry to have to break it to you. Now, there are a few exceptions. If you're using debt to build a business, buy apartment buildings, or invest into machinery for a business, sure, if you believe the return will be greater on that debt, I won't argue that point. But if you're like me, just an average American who's not out there trying to build the next Fortune 500 company, you're probably most definitely better off being out of debt. That's a mathematic certainty. And while it's a simple concept for us, it is very difficult because the corporate propaganda machine, the banking machine, has convinced us over the years that debt is good. Student loan debt, car debt, all types of debt. But trust me, just stay out of debt, and that alone will put you ahead of most of the crowd. The next thing that we need to do, you need to become like me, resourceful Ron, or a miser, or a tightwad, or any other name that people want to jealously call us. You want to make the most of every last cent that you have. I was at a dinner last night, my parents' 60th wedding anniversary, and a couple of my uncles started joking with me about Grandpa Hal, who I was relatively close to. And they said, "Oh, Ronnie's got a lot of Hal in him." Hal grew up during the Great Depression. Hal passed away with a considerable amount of money that he had saved. But my one uncle said that, yeah, my dad was the only guy I knew who could live off Social Security. And I was like, I could live off Social Security, right? When you buy anything, when you spend any money, I got some harsh news for you right now. You're at war with McDonald's. You're at war with Apple Computer, Ford Motor Company, any other big company. You want to make sure that you're getting the most for every dollar you spend, every last cent that you spend, because guess what, right? They are at war with you. Don't you think for a second that McDonald's isn't trying to squeeze every last penny out of you every time you go buy some fast food, or that Ford Motor Company, they're not sitting around the boardroom at Ford Motor Company saying, I wonder how we can give more money back to our customers and put more money in their pockets. No, they are hyper focused on extracting as much money out of your pocket. Not just those companies, but any big Fortune 500 company, despite whatever BS they may spew, at the end of the day, they are hyper focused on taking as much of your money as possible. So you need to be hyper focused on keeping as much money as possible. Look, there's a few more simple things, and we're going to cover them in this video, but the amount that you spend is just as important as the amount that you make. If you want to be rich, point number 2 is you need to spend less than you make, or you need to earn more than you spend. It's mathematically impossible for you to be rich if you're digging yourself into a debt hole on a regular basis by spending more than you make. And then my one uncle, who I love dearly, brought up the point that every once in a while, we need to splurge, right? You need to splurge, have some fun. Hey, I'm all for it. I have all kinds of fun. We go on vacations. I take the family out to do fun things, but splurge like a miser, right? Like, for instance, go on vacation during the months when nobody else goes on vacation. You'll find something very interesting. You can get the same hotel rooms, the same resorts, oftentimes for 50% or more cheaper. and they're not as crowded. And that's just one example. If you go out to eat, look for coupons. Who cares, right? Hey, I'd rather be able to go out to eat twice as much per year because I'm using a buy one, get one free coupon. But call me crazy. Lower the bar for yourself just a little bit. And what you may find is that you're just as happy or even happier. And what I mean by that is you don't always need the newest, shiniest, brightest piece of new technology, car, whatever it may be. Look, haven't you learned by now that eventually that shiny red new ball, that new phone, a month or two later is just like everything else, but you spent a premium to get it? If you lower your bar a little bit, heck, I buy used cell phones for like 25% of what they were when they were brand new just 18 months ago, and they work just perfectly. They're like brand new phones. Because you better believe we've all been highly impacted by the advertising, media, brainwashing industry. These are some of the brightest, smartest people in the world that put together all these ads, which are specifically designed to create a need within you, a need for that shiny new car, a need for that shiny new iPhone, or whatever it may be. They don't have your best interest at heart. Remember, we're at war with these companies. They want to extract as much money from you as possible. So let's stop for a second and review. Point number one, you want to stay out of debt. Point number two, you want to earn more than you spend. You can either earn more or spend less. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but you want to make sure you're generating some type of capital surplus. And that'll lead us to point number three, which has to do with investments in precious metals. We're going to get to that. But if you want to get your hand on some precious metals right now, I want to say thank you to the channel sponsor that makes this video possible, Pimbex, P-I-M-B-E-X. It's right there over my left shoulder. That's a place where you can go online to buy silver, gold, and platinum group metals. And because you know from listening this far that I'm a value-oriented person, you'll find what I found at Pimbex. You always get a great value. They have ultra competitive pricing, a great selection, okay, and a company you can trust. Please help support channel sponsors like Pimbex. And if I don't lose my voice completely, First Mining Gold, Canadian gold developer with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada, and Fortuna Mining, a producing gold and silver company with operations in Latin America and West Africa. So you've done it. Congratulations. You gotten yourself out of debt, and you're now spending less than you bring in. You're generating a capital surplus. What better way, right, to accumulate wealth at this point with this extra money that you have coming in than investing? But what's the best investment? Well, in my opinion, something that I think we all should consider with at least part of our excess capital are precious metals. Think about it, right? You're making more than you spend. You have a surplus. Put it into the timeless store of value, the value battery, right? Silver and gold. If you put your money into this, okay, it will store the value. And at some point, 10 years, 20 years, or maybe your children and grandchildren who inherited from you, that value will always, always be there. Do you think you can do it? Can you be rich? Can you stay out of debt, spend less than you make, and accumulate wealth, and consider putting it into things like precious metals? Because if you do, you are amongst an elite group of people in the world. You are truly rich. Hey, look, the guy that makes $400,000 a year but spends $550,000 per year, if you're making $40,000 a year but only spending $20,000, you're richer than he is. It's a state of mind, and it's a mathematical relationship that really makes the difference. Another important thing for us to remember is there's never a magic number. I can't sit here and tell you, yeah, if you have $2 million worth of silver or gold and no debt, then you're rich. because you could have $2 million, but think, well, my neighbor has 4, so I need to have 4. Again, it's not a specific number of ounces or dollars or however you choose to measure it that will make you wealthy, make you rich. It's more about how you live your life and who you're indebted to or not indebted to. And a final good point for you to remember is that if you're living this lifestyle, if you're consuming less than you make, you're amongst some of the most charitable people in the world. You are demanding, you are extracting from the world less than you are giving. If you're earning more than you're spending. Think about that for a second. Just a little added bonus on top of everything else. Thank you for being here today. Please, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel, but most important, just come back and see me again sometime soon in the basement. I'll be waiting for you.